Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm replacing suspension cartridge on my Dualtron Spider Limited. The whole process took me about an hour, including gathering the tools and cleaning up after. It actually made a huge difference, especially since I'm only 130 pounds. This video clip shows the end result. The suspension is much softer, and it made a noticeable difference when riding. The first step is removing the fender. There are 4 screws holding it, and this part is pretty easy. The second part is removing the suspension arm on the right side of the scooter. This is the side that doesn't have the brake disc, and you would be removing this arm as well if you want to change the tire. You'll need a number 18 socket and a ratchet. Make sure to use proper high quality socket as opposed to adjustable wrench, as you really want to make sure not to strip the nut and not to shear the bolt. This part is screwed in pretty tightly, but not crazy so. I was able to remove it with no trouble. My scooter has about 200 miles on it now, and if you have a ton of more miles and dirt got everywhere, it could be a little bit harder, especially if there is a lot of rust. On the other side, you only need to remove the top. You definitely don't need to remove the bottom bolt holding the wheel, since we'll be removing everything as one piece. You also don't need to remove the brake, and you can just keep it attached. This part is pretty easy as well, but make sure not to put any sideways forces when using the ratchet. I would recommend using a rubber mallet to tap the suspension arm out. If you use a hammer, you might cosmetically damage the pieces and it won't look as nice after. You can tap on the bottom part in the upwards direction, and the top part you can hit from the inside out. This is pretty straightforward, and I was expecting it would be harder to do. For the other side, it's easier to first use a deep socket to tap on the arm while the scooter is horizontal. Make sure it's not resting on the wheel though, because then you won't be doing anything. Right now my scooter is resting on the deck and the wheel is up in the air a little bit. Once you moved it a little bit, you can move the scooter vertically and remove the wheel. Here's the stock medium cartridge with white rubber pieces, as well as the new one with green suspension inserts. It looks exactly the same in all aspects, except for the softness of the inserts. Now the process is essentially the same backwards. You slide the cartridge in, and then retrace all the steps backwards comparing to what you've done to get here. Be very careful tightening everything to never put sideways forces on the bolts, not to strip the thread and bolts. Everything needs to be tightened very well, and sometimes it helps to use the rubber mallet a little bit before tightening the bolts completely. Make sure to align everything before tightening, as these pieces are critical to both safety as well as performance of your scooter. I'd say this was a pretty straightforward replacement, taking about an hour of my time. The end result is worth it for me. The suspension became softer under my weight, and a lot more enjoyable to ride.